this one. It is the second-seeded Memphis Grizzlies going up against the seventh-seeded LA Lakers. As many of us who follow remember, they already had some pre-existing beef going into this game. It was that one, Shannon Sharp incident. Although apparently he may not even be at the games because I guess they're that expensive in LA. I think I saw a tweet of his. He was like, I'm not sure if it was a joke. He was like, yeah, like I'm gonna need some GoFundMe help if I'm going to be at those Laker games. But nonetheless, John, very interesting series. Lakers, since the trade deadline, seems they have kind of pushing the right buttons, making the right moves. They've gone on this run. Memphis just getting John Morant back from his suspension. No Steven Adams for the playoffs, and as well as what am I blanking? Brandon Clark also. That's who it was. Gone. So a lot of the onus can be put on potential defensive player of the year, Jaren Jackson Jr., and of course everyone's favorite player, Dillon Brooks, on the defensive side of the ball. Do you think Memphis takes care of business, or do you think LeBron and the Lakers can pull off the upset?
I'm going to go with Memphis in 6. I do think there is a world in which the Lakers win this, and that is the key to that, like you just mentioned, is no Steven Adams, no Brandon. Who else?
No Brandon Clark out for this.
Brandon
season.
Clark. Okay, for some reason I was thinking Desmond Bane when I was just speaking. Anyway, no Brandon Clark. That's two of their bigs, and like you said, Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to have to do a lot of the work. But if Anthony Davis can somehow just dominate this series, I think there's a possibility that the Lakers could upset them. That said, I mean, like you talked about, Jaren Jackson Jr. could probably win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I don't know who the betting favorite is right now off the top of my head, but I remember I don't know when we last talked about it, but I'm pretty sure we talked about this guy's balling out.
I think it was
like when we did the All-Star stuff.
I think he's the odds favorite by a good margin.
Yeah. And so I don't know if Anthony Davis can do it. And I know this is kind of an unfair thing to bring up, but it's just the reality of the situation. I'm not also guaranteed that Anthony Davis is going to be available for the entire series. We just can't guarantee that. Same with LeBron James. These two guys, the last handful of years, have had too many moments where they go down. All of a sudden, they're going back to the locker room. They miss the rest of the game. And I just don't think the Lakers can afford that if that was to happen. Even if they come back the next game, I don't think they can afford that. So I'm going to go with the Grizzlies here. Like I said, in 6, I do think there is a possibility that the Lakers can win this. If I was the Lakers, I'm getting Shannon Sharp right next to the Grizzlies bench. Because you need that mental warfare aspect, all right? You do whatever you got to do. If he's got to get a GoFundMe or whatever, he's not willing to pay for it. You get him there, all right? LeBron, you do what you got to do to try and get in their heads. But yeah, overall, I'm taking the Grizzlies here.
Yeah, call a little bit. I don't know the man's family situation. I don't mean to speak on it, but I remember everyone was looking up the price of that sweater he wore during the incident. I think he'll be able to get to those games, but who knows? But nonetheless, I'm going with Memphis.
Money should not be an issue if he's working with Skip Bayless and
if you can afford like a $1,400 sweater cardigan, I think you're good. Because gosh. Anyways, I'll go with Memphis in 7. I could easily see 6. What I'm really scared of, and I feel like why the Lakers may get a game or two, is, and this will be interesting because there's always that dynamic of the refereeing and playoffs versus regular season seems to be always a big issue. And as great as Jaren Jackson Jr. is defensively, and same with Dillon Brooks, but they do tend to get a lot of foul trouble in regular season. And like I said, especially with no Steven Adams and no Brandon Clark, if Jaren Jackson, which has happened, I think last playoffs too, I think he fouled out once or twice in the first round, and I won't be shocked if more. He gets in foul trouble, he fouls out. Who are you going to put on Anthony Davis? I mean, Xavier Tillman's like okay rotational big, but I think AD is just going to blow right past him because we know he's very Xavier Tillman's kind of I wouldn't say cement footed per se. No offense to him, but yeah, do you do that or do you try to throw Dillon Brooks on him? But Brooks is doesn't have the wingspan and size that Davis has, and then now who's going to guard LeBron? Maybe Desmond Bane, but we've seen. Bane last playoffs, he kind of struggled, which I think he'll be better this year because I think I think the suspension of Ja was a little bit of a blessing in disguise because he had to take up a little bit more of the responsibilities. So that's why I think ultimately I think Memphis will take care of business, but I expect this to be kind of a tough series for them where they may have a game or two where they look horrible, like I think we've seen, but they bounce right back. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is Jaren Jackson Jr. staying out of foul trouble. Yeah, Dylan Brooks, isn't as big because maybe they can do find more ways to slow down LeBron. But yeah, I think Jaren Jackson's the key here. But who knows? Maybe it won't even matter. Maybe Ja will pop off because he did do that last playoffs where Ja was seemingly it seemed like every other game dropping 30 plus and going crazy. So yeah, it'll be a fun series for sure. That'll definitely be one I think. Not even just for the storylines, but just matchup wise, it'll be fun to watch. But anything else you want to add in regards to that series?
That's going to be it for me. I'm sure that we'll see many social media posts about that one just because it's the Lakers. But I feel like a lot of Lakers fans are going to be a little disappointed because, with Lakers fans, they just make the playoffs and they think they're going to go win the championship. But it's an uphill battle.
Yeah, but I will say, I did, like I said, did like what they did at the trade deadline. I wouldn't be shocked if they win this series.
Agreed.
Like I said, there are some holes to Memphis. Like I said, personnel wise. So, and it's not.
Yeah, I think I guess if we're considering the Kings technically underdogs, out of all the favorites, I think the Grizzlies are the most likely to be upset.
Yeah, because they've dealt with, like I said,
in the West,
dealing with injuries. Ja still hasn't been fully the Ja Morant before. He was the MVP candidate before all that stuff happened. And then he had to take some time away, or he was told to take some time away. So he's still kind of getting back into form. So we'll see what Memphis can do, and if they can take care of business.